I'm a squirrel and I have too many hobbies like knitting, crochet, reading, especially horror books, tarot, and witchy things. And if you like any of those and would like to see my progress and me talk about some of these hobbies, stick around. Today we have a year of finishing update, which is my knitting podcast where I'm working this year on finishing every single one of my whips. So if that sounds good to you, grab a coffee and maybe your whip, say hi to co host Jackson, and we'll get into it. Okay, I'm back. Forgot to grab a tarot deck. So today we are using the Bonestone and Earthflesh Tarot by Evelyn Cameron, illustrated by Anna Torian. It is a beautiful deck, and Evelyn Cameron is a YouTuber. So I backed this deck, and while the deck was being created, she had like YouTube lives talking about like all the cards and stuff, which was super cool. The only thing I don't like about it is the box, because I just personally don't like the split boxes, but that's fine. It does. The thing with split boxes is they do store really well on a bookshelf, but I don't like getting the cards out as much. Alright. So as always, to start this week, take a deep breath. And today's card is beautiful. This is the Three of Cups. And it is all about connection and building, especially like emotional connection and community. And it also has this connotation of like joy and expression. So, beautiful card, especially when part of what I like to think of YouTube as, and this YouTube channel, is not so much me screaming into the void, although it does kind of feel like that, but more like building that community. It has been cold here in Florida, but so I put on my Pusheen sweater, which I love dearly. I bought this. It didn't make it, but I might have gotten a little too cocky and I'm a little too warm. So if there's a dramatic outfit change in the middle of this, it's because I got too hot and had to take my sweater off. Such is the plight of living in Florida. Okay, so, oh, and then I have another pistachio latte, although I did put an extra shot of espresso in it because I'm filming very early in the morning, because I'm filming and then going to school because I have 2 tests to take today, and then I have a presentation tomorrow for another class, and then the week after that I have 2 more tests, and then after that I'm on spring break. So I'm very excited because I want to do a lot of knitting and hopefully finishing up some projects, and also do a lot of filming while I'm on spring break. So then I have a lot of my knit and chats kind of done, and then I can just focus on the podcast week to week. And I have more time to edit, and when I have more time to edit the knit and chats, I can put in more like pictures and sources and stuff like that I think just helps. If you're watching it, if you're listening to it, it doesn't really help, but if you're watching the screen, sometimes having those visuals helps. Hello, Jackson. You love co-host Jackson. He is the best kitty, right? Okay, so once again, I have no finished objects. I do have my notes finally on my tablet because, one, I'm blind, and 2, I have the attention span of a gerbil. I used to have a good attention span, then I went back to school. So, I guess we'll do in order. So we're going to start talking about my lecture knitting. Excuse me, Jackson. And so this is the Neve cardigan by Emily Green. I'm working it on, one of these days I'll write this down, I think 3.5 millimeter needles, but That could be wrong. It's on the Ravelry page, which is always linked. And, oh, and this is in The Man Who Opened the Door. Well, let me back up. This is Treehouse Knits yarn, their Yaki Silk base, and The Man Who Opened the Door. And I finally, nice perk of filming early is I actually have light, so you can really see like all these kind of gray and brown speckles. So last podcast, we're here, and we've gotten through a substantial portion of both the sleeves, because I'm doing them two at the time, and this nice increasing. So let me move my stitch marker. And no, I still have not made the squirrel progress keepers, and I really need to, because just everything is squirrel themed. Maybe that's another thing I can do on spring break, is like sit down and make those squirrel progress keepers. I did not want to go around 2 stitches. Okay. Just 1 stitch, please. Thank you. Alright. So hopefully by next week, because I do have to knit. I think, honestly, I might look at the reference photos, because the directions say to knit until 9 inches. But I might look at the reference photos, because I think I want to start the chevrons here. But it could also be that I am closer to that 9-ish length that I need for these to start that beautiful chevron pattern, because it goes up the sleeves as well, and then there's a lot of raglan shaping here, so I think it goes up the sleeves like to here, and then we have the raglan shaping. I don't know, I'm kind of taking it step by step and like just looking at the pattern when I'm working on it, in between taking notes and listening to people and all that good stuff while I'm in school. So I don't have a lot on this, but this is my nibbling sweater swatch, which I cast on. I think I go through these things where like I want to cast something on new, but because I'm working on finishing everything, I'm really trying to like keep my panic cast-ons to things that I've planned, and also I'm keeping them to like swatching. So I'm not even casting this on. I don't even consider this cast on. This is swatched. But I did the swatch in the round with the stranded color work, and this is the swatch blocked, and it is so crispy and beautiful. Although funny, I didn't have any more wool wash, so I blocked this with a little face wash, so it doesn't smell quite as nice. But the face wash really did soften up this wool. This is the Strandtastic cardigan by Unicorn Designs. Again, this is just the little swatch I did the round, and then I'm going to practice reinforcing these stitches and steeking this, also so then I can lay it flat to get like a really proper gauge swatch, which would be very exciting because the pattern is knit in the round and steeked, so I wanted to do the swatch, get the round and steeked. It is going to be a little bit off because this is a pretty tiny swatch, but it also gave me a nice chance to like try out some color patterns. And I mean, we're still not casting this on, but I can show you kind of the yarns I'm thinking about for this. This is all the yarn that I was using in my Persian Dreams Afghan that I am no longer working on. And so I have a bunch of colors, and of course now that I'm talking, I'm like pulling out like different colors. Okay, I'm not actually 100% sure that these are the colors I was looking at, which is kind of annoying because I did spend a good amount of time playing with this. Okay. And I'm also aware of the fact that this might be too many colors, and I might have to edit. Okay, so basically, I kind of have like almost 3 color stories. So the first are these um, like yellowy oranges, like saffron and stuff. I also, none of these have ball bands, so I'm like playing great guessing game, figuring out the colors. And then the second is like this dark red to like claret, tomato, and poppy. I think I do remember some of these color names. And then my other set of colors was like these 2 purples. So this really bright purple, a darker purple, and a brown. The only problem is this is a lot of colors. This is 9 colors, and the size I'm making does not have that many stripes to do like a pattern repeat. But it also doesn't have exactly that number of stripes. So it's not like I can do like 1 stripe, like each color motif, a different color. So I think I need to pare it down. And honestly, while I'm looking at it, I like a lot of these colors are really similar. Yeah, honestly, now that I'm looking at it, I think I might do 6 colors instead of 9. So we'll have these like purpley, pinky vibe. And then this like brown and orangey vibe. Actually, probably this. So it's like brown, mid-toned orange and yellow. I think that's probably what's going to happen. So then this like tomato red, the brighter orange, and the claret are going to get kicked out. Also because I think I just have too many dark colors that are all kind of the same saturation. And I still have, oh, excuse me. And I still have like tons and tons of yarn. I have like 3 of these. White is not the best background for kids' garments, but this is very much stash busting, and I'm using what we have. So I'm actually not going to put those back in there. I'm just going to like leave these out. Because also I'm probably going to change the colors I'm using for this cardigan like 16 million times before we do it. But that's also kind of a nice thing, is I can like plan and play with colors and maybe even do a couple more swatches, especially if I don't like the gauge on that. Although I do like how this fabric feels. It's like very squishy, it's not too dense, so I'm probably going to stick with this fabric, and then if I have to do like some math for the pattern, I might do that. My personal philosophy is I want the swatch to be the fabric that I want, and then once I have the fabric that I want and the tension that that fabric's in, then I will usually like look at the sizes, and if I'm off gauge, go up a size or down a size to accommodate my gauge. I'd rather do that and have a fabric that I like and I think is appropriate, instead of like changing needles all around to try and get like a different gauge. I think it might be pretty close though, because like I said, these colors are nice and crispy, and it feels really nice. And the palette yarn, like, it does bloom a lot because it's 100% wool. All right, Jackson. Okay, so the next, so now we're going to move over to couch knitting, and we are going to talk about, see, look how beautiful she looks here. I'm so excited for this to be done. And because my life has fallen apart, I haven't really worked on her a whole heck of a lot in 2 weeks, but we've done some. So this is my Halloween corner to corner blanket that I've been doing completely wrong, but that's okay because it looks nice. I was here right at the beginning of this black stitch, and I'm decreasing on both sides, but yeah, you haven't really gotten that far. Okay, so we're gonna move. Although I do seem to work on this mostly during knit and chats, and then because my last knit and chat about horror books, I didn't work on this, so it's kind of my fault. So we're moved up. I've talked about this a lot and kind of the ups and downs, but I am using a 5mm hook and Lily and Cream cotton yarn, which I'm pretty sure I got from Joann's, which is so sad considering Joann's is now closing. I know everyone's really sad about it, but they just made some really unfortunate business decisions, and the filings for the bankruptcy are kind of insane, and they're just in so much debt. They're in debt up in their eyeballs. And one of the vendors, because a lot of the debt that they are trying to cover by doing this liquidation and filing for bankruptcy is to the Woobles of all people. Like, I looked it up because I looked at their 10K because I was nosy for a couple years ago, and they're like, the amount of debt they have to third-party vendors is insane, and the top one is the Woobles. So I've been making the joke that, like, the Woobles killed Joann's, which is kind of sad, but, like, also, like, not entirely untrue. And again, I'm not an accountant. I'm just a nosy business major. So, the next thing I have to talk about, look how beautiful. Okay, we have to have a moment for these bags, these project bags. This is the small size, and I think this is the large size. These are both by Barley Pearls, and these are my favorite project bags, and I love that they have bats on them, because even though I am a squirrel, bats are my favorite animal. So anytime I can get stuff with bats on it, it's a win, especially because it's so much harder to find nice stuff with bat fabric than with squirrels on it. But here we go. So as I mentioned, my life's falling apart. There's lots of, like, stressful personal things going on right now, and I was sitting at home and I just wanted to cast something on. So I bought a new sock pattern, and I was going through all my sock yarn looking to cast something on, and then I was halfway through it. I literally had yarn all around me, and then I couldn't decide on a color, and I got really frustrated and put all the yarn, like, back in the tote. But because I was moving everything around, I found this project, which of course is in the middle of a row, because why would I ever show anything not in the middle of a row? Although I guess the sleeves weren't, so good on me. But this sad jellyfish thing will one day grow up to be the beautiful wild swan shawl. And I forget the author. This is a free pattern, which is wild because the lace is so intricate. Also, funny story about the yarn. I'm pretty sure my best friend got me this yarn, because it is not a color I would have used. And, like, I have a vivid memory of it being from the Plucky Knitter. But when I pulled it out, like, 2 years ago to panic cast this on, also my life was kind of falling apart, I couldn't find the ball band. And so I have asked my best friend, and we have thought that this is the Plucky Knitter. I don't know the colorway. It's this beautiful red, like, ruby garnet, beautiful color. I've been on the website. I can't find it. I think I might be able to email them, like, be like, hey, weird question, but is this yours? But I have 2 balls of this, and I have a ton of beads. So I'm using, yeah, I can't really see the colors. Okay, so this pattern has, also this is why it's going to be couch knitting, is because I'm putting the beads on one by one with a crochet hook. This little mini itty bitty crochet hook. It's so small that like you can't, like you can barely see the hook. And that's why it has this cover on it to not bend the hook. Oh, it is a 1.25 millimeter hook. That's what I'm using to put the beads on. I can't tell you the needle size. I want to say it's like a 5. US 5 or 6. I don't know. I am very thankful to Past Me for putting stitch markers on every pattern repeat. That was good going, because otherwise I'd be entirely lost. So I did pick this up again, and it's great because it's so complex. I really have to like think about it. So like the right side rows are really, really complex, especially with the beads, and then the wrong side rows are all purling. So it's beautiful. It's like focus, 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 relax. Focus, 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 relax. Which is a great tempo. And honestly, I might end up knitting a lot more lace because I'm really enjoying this, but this has to get done first. So we are going to put a new progress keeper. This one's going to be peachy because I can't find another teal one. Right at the beginning of this row, repeat. Well, I'm putting it technically in the row below because there's cabling and I don't want to like be in my own way. But yeah, I'm just, these beads are also, I have 5 different colors of beads, which I did write down. And I didn't buy these beads as a mix. I bought like 5 different tubes of them, and then I just like dumped them all together. Oh, I did write down the needles. I'm using a size 4 3.5 millimeter needle for the body of the shawl, and then these are my Yuki 6/0 round seed beads in the colors garnet lined ruby, silver lined dark ruby, pearlized amethyst lined burgundy, silver lined gray, and silver lined crystal, all mixed together. And when I get to a spot where I need a bead, I just pop one on, and it gives a lot of dimension, especially in these like, so I can't even stop staring at it, especially in these like mesh panels that kind of go like all down the shawl. It's almost like I have variegated beads on top of, like, the beads are like speckled on top of the yarn. So this is going to be so lovely when it's done. I don't wear a lot of red, which is also how I know I didn't buy this yarn, is because it's not a color I normally buy. I don't wear a lot of red, but I will have to try and figure out a way to wear this, which is nice because it'll be like very vampire vibes. So that is my couch knitting for when I don't want to work on this. So this might slow down a little bit, but we'll have to see. We'll see what I want to do over spring break. As long as I'm making progress on whips, like I'm good, right? Like I don't have to be too, like I started out this year really focused, like one whip at a time, and that's just not how I operate, which is how I got into this situation in the first place, was like casting on a bunch of stuff and a lot of whips. So here we are. So that's going to bring us into kind of our year finishing goals, because it is March, so it is a new month. And I have 2 kind of main project goals, and then one more like YouTube related, as silly as that is. So I really want to have a finished object this month because I didn't have one in February. So the Neve cardigan, obviously I'm on the sleeves, so that's really close. Also on my Ravelry, I did note that I started the Neve in May of 2024, so it'd be really nice for her to not go over a year, since I have so many other like legacy whips at this point. And then I also have a sweater that just needs like the ends woven in and one sleeve, Although after the experience with the socks, I am terrified that my tension has changed enough and the sleeves are just going to be like chaotic. And I'm honestly toying with ripping back the sleeve, the existing sleeve, picking up all the stitches for both sleeves and knitting them two at a time. And now that I say it out loud, yes, it'll be more work, but I think the finished object will be better. Because I also can't remember the decrease rate I used, and I don't think I followed the pattern decrease rate, so I might have to do that. So that is a TBD. And then I really want to finish the body of this and weave in all the ends and start working on the border. I don't think this is going to be finished, but like finishing the body of it and then starting the border. Because if I at least do like 2 rounds of the border, then I can just like continue doing border for like until I run out of yarn or whatever. And then at the end of March, because this will be the end of Q1, I kind of want to do like drink some of my coffee. I kind of want to do like a video where I drag out every single whip and show them. And I do have one that I'm considering frogging. And then I also want to go through all like my future project plans with y'all. And I have a couple that I might just remove. Because project plans, like obviously they're really loosey-goosey, but by the time I have a project plan, like sometimes I have bought yarn or bought like patterns or something, so that makes it more concrete in my mind, and then I create like a Ravelry page for it and everything. So there might be a couple that I just like go through and like get rid of, but then I don't know, maybe I need to have like a abandoned plans as well as frogged, so I can kind of see, at least for this year, like how many of the plants I had at the beginning of the year I actually ended up doing, and whatever. So I do want to go through everything, see what I need to frog, see what I need to abandon, see what I'm really excited about, and kind of what I need to do, and then like make a list of like importance. Although I just said I kind of want to be loosey-goosey and go with like, I tend to work with how the wind goes, and I'm very much like a mood knitter in a lot of ways. So maybe I won't make an importance list, but maybe I'll do like a how close to finishing, like rank all my whips based on how close to finishing they are. So then I can like kind of see it and be like, oh well, maybe I'll just like, if I want something quick, I'll be like, oh well, this is really close to being done, right? Maybe I'll do that. Anyway, so that's gonna be like kind of a project, because it's gonna be like I have to run around and gather everything, and honestly I think I have some stuff like in my car and whatever still, so that's gonna be a project. So I'm gonna like kind of pull all that together through March and like film it and have that out at some point, probably beginning of April. At beginning of April we'll do like a round 1 like recap, especially because I do have one video on my page before I kind of like finalize this format, where I literally show every single one of my whips in a whip parade. And the whips, honestly, that's why I didn't do it again at the beginning of the year when I started this year finishing project, because the whips are like basically the same. So I do have that if you want to kind of see, but I didn't do it in the beginning of the year. So it'd be nice to like Q1 show everything that I still have, just to keep me on track more than anything else as I embark on this crazy goal, which I'm also starting to think is going to take me more than 1 year to finish everything I have currently, but that's fine. We're good with that. So now we are in acquisitions, and I can talk about the sock pattern I panic bought. So this is it's in Gaelic. I think the pattern has, hang on. I asked my friend who speaks Gaelic how he would pronounce this. Also, I have kind of a funny story. Of course, he didn't send me a voice memo. That would have been useful. Okay, so this is the Stoki Benusha, or just terribly butchered Gaelic for basic socks. Irish Gaelic, by the way. Irish Gaelic and Scotch Gaelic, in my understanding, are two similar but different languages. But again, I'm not a linguist, so please don't quote me. And it is by Albiona McLaughlin, I'm pretty sure. And it is the basic socks with integrated heel. I'm pretty sure I saw this on TikTok, and I was very excited because she has it top down and toe up, but the way you do the heel is it fits like a heel flap and gusset, but you don't have to do a heel flap and gusset, because I've done heel flap and gusset, and I've done short row heels, and heel flap and gusset fortunately just fit better. But I don't always want to do I don't always want to do top down, because sometimes I like doing toe up, so I can so that way, like, once the foot's done, I can just knit until I get sick of it or run out of yarn. And doing heel flap and gusset toe up is kind of annoying in a lot of ways as well. It just kind of works differently, and I know a lot of people like the fleegle heel, and I've done it a couple times and I just don't like it. So I'm excited to try this sock pattern, but then, as I've said, I got stuck on the color of the yarn, and my ball winder kind of sucks, so I have to so basically I've been using my Swift and hand winding from a Swift, and I just need to get a better ball winder at this rate for the whole sock yarn thing, especially because I have a lot of projects coming up where I know the yarn that I want to use for them is in Hanks, but that's okay. So I did panic buy a pattern, but if I'm panic buying a pattern, it's less of an investment than panic buying yarn or something else. Alright, so now we are on books, and I am at 8 out of 52 books, which is really exciting because it means I'm back on track for my 52 book reading goal, which is very exciting. I'm currently reading My Darling Dreadful Thing by... having my notes on my laptop, on my tablet, is really helpful, except when I, forget to write down things like author names. Okay. My Darling Dreadful Thing by Joanna von Veen, which is a historical fiction, but set in the 50s, and when I first started reading it, I thought it was set in Victorian era, but so far I'm really enjoying it. I finished... this month, I finally finished Dreadful, which was really cute, and the ending, the whole book is very formulaic, but the ending was interesting and had a few twists that I did not see coming, so that was fun. Blood, Sweat, and Tears, which was I finished The Great Witches Baking Show 4 and 5, which is a bunt instrument and Blood, Sweat, and Tears, but because I read them so close together, they get really repetitive. And Poppy, maybe it's just how people speak, and people in general are really repetitive, but Poppy keeps saying things, and then in book 4 we established that Florence is not a girl's girl, even though we thought she was. She's a petty bitch and deserves everything that's coming to her. And we also established that Florence speaks Greek, and then the 5th book, Poppy is surprised that Florence speaks Greek again to another character, but I don't know. Poppy's got a lot going on, so maybe she's just like me and has the memory of a goldfish. That's gonna be my headcanon for these books going on, especially if I read them pretty close together. And then I also finished House of Hunger, which I've talked about a lot because vampires are fun, and it had Vampire Society in kind of a cool way, and I really enjoyed that one. And I feel like I read more books, but I also think I think those are all the books I've talked about since 2 weeks ago. So, that is it. Okay. So, for life updates. I'm just going through it. It's very stressful. Thankfully I have knitting to like chill my brain out. So life is very stressful. I have a lot of stuff to do for school. Got yelled at by a client, which was really interesting, at work. So yeah, so it's just been not like the best week ever, but it's fine. Like I said, in 2 weeks I have spring break and I have a little bit of like breathing room, so that'll be nice. That's really it for like, I haven't done anything fun. I've just been studying and stressed out of my brain. So here we are. Which also means I didn't go to see a movie in February in the theaters, and I'm really trying to see 12 movies in the theaters. So maybe during spring break I'll like see 2 movies in the theaters. We'll see. So coming up next on the channel. So this is going up hopefully March 5th. So then on March 12th, we're going to have another knit and chat, and this one's going to be about oracle cards, which are similar to tarot cards, but different. So we'll have a nice knit and chat about that. I'm doing a lot of research on it, because there are a couple of oracle card creators that have said some not cool things about oracle cards after profiting off them. So I hope you like, what are oracle cards, and also like some related drama in like the witchy world. And then March 19th will be again my year of finishing episode 6, because this is episode 5. And that's really it. I'm sure I've forgotten things that I didn't have notes on, but it is what it is. If you're still here by the end of the video, please like and subscribe if you want to see my squirrely chaos, or even if you just want to see more of co-host Jackson, who is the biggest cuddle bug ever. He's going to prove me wrong, but he's the biggest cuddle bug ever. And I will see you next week. Bye.